How to ensure your follow-up gets ignored and your deals die. This is Sales for Nice People, the daily podcast for ethical entrepreneurs who do not want their follow-up to get ignored or their deals to die. I am Martin Steller. I help nice people sell more. I'm at the beach in Malaga at the moment for anybody watching or listening to a bit worse audio than normal. And when you have a deal in the pipeline and you have had your meetings with your buyers and you need to follow up with them because it's been a while since you heard from them, you don't know where things stand, there's fundamentally two different ways to do follow-up. One is going to get you ignored in most of the cases, and the second one actually might help you get the deal in the end. Why do you get ignored with this first one? The fundamental difference between the two ways of following up is one is where you try to keep the deal going. This doesn't work very well, you've probably noticed. Second is where you try to keep the conversation going. It's very different. So the first one, where you try to keep the deal going, is where you go, hey, have you had a chance to read the proposal? Any news on this? Have you been able to talk to your team about making a decision? And then people have to reply to you and admit that they're not ready yet, or they have to think about how to tell you that it's going to be no, or that there's concerns that they need to be addressing. And then it gets parked for later, which means never. And that's how you get ghosted. And the big problem with that is when you get ghosted or when somebody just doesn't have the time or the mind space to send you the right reply, is the conversation stalls. And a sale does not happen unless there's an ongoing conversation, right? Sale happens in the context of a conversation. So if you want to increase your chances of closing deals and you want to get replies to your follow-up, which obviously we all do, then the trick is to send a message that is helpful, relevant, and invite a response. So it's got to be short, it's got to be useful and relevant, and it's got to include a question other than any news on this. So a question could be, would it be useful to have a short meeting and see if I can help you position this project with your co-founders? Well, now you're asking a question that is actually relevant because now you show up in function of your buyer getting what they want, which is your deal over the line. But they need to get their stakeholders involved. Or another example would be, hey, it seems like you've not been able to make a decision on this yet. That's just fine. Would it be useful to have a short meeting and see if we can create a smaller kickoff project that makes it easier to make a decision and get things started? Now you're making your buyer think about something that might actually be relevant and helpful. And that is a much better, much more functional way to actually send follow-up. So be very careful when you send follow-up not to fall into the salesperson trap, where all you're doing is saying, hey, are you going to buy this yet? I'm not going to say that in those words, but that is the signal, the message you send when you have the perfunctory circling back, just checking in, any news on this. Don't send that kind of message. It's going to get you ghosted. It's going to cause your deals to die. And then you end up with a pipeline full of duds and stalled deals that you don't know what to do with. When you follow up, sit and think. Ask a question that is relevant, helpful, and is irresistible to respond to. That is how you do follow-up and actually get your replies. This is Sales for Nice People. If you would like to have a short daily email in your inbox, go to martinsteller.com/nicepeople, and I will see you again.